And good Friday night, everyone. Thanks for joining the Great Lakes Divide live stream here on YouTube, powered by federalwilliams.com. That's FEDERAU Williams.com for all of your realty needs in the state of Michigan. Contact Mike Williams, and he'll help you out. Mike is the guy. So federalwilliams.com, FEDERAU Williams.com. I'm your host, Adam Biggers. You can follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. You can follow Great Lakes Divide on Twitter at GLDivide. And you can find us on Facebook at Great Lakes Divide. This is part 2, as promised. We've never done 2 live streams in one day, but this is obviously a big week. So I'm going to get into the live chat as soon as I tweet the links here. I want to thank everybody for joining this morning. If you're returning, welcome back. If you didn't catch the first one, I'll try to recap a little bit. I don't want to repeat a lot of stuff, and I want to talk about some of the topics that Ryan Schuling and I talked about during our podcast. We just posted an hour discussion on Michigan and Michigan State, why we think each team. I picked Michigan to win. Ryan picked Michigan State. We kind of give our points why we think. There are a couple things that we agree upon, and we'll get into those too. I mean, Felton Davis, Matt Coughlin, Mark D'Antonio's tactical nature, and just the way that Michigan State's been able to come up with big plays. So we'll get into the predictions a little bit. I'll take your guys' predictions if you haven't given them to me already. So give me 1 second, and I'll get to the comments and the questions. We're going to try to keep it a little bit short tonight, guys. I'm actually headed out to Hazlitt, which is near East Lansing, to visit my cousin, and her and I are going to hang out. And I actually might even call Ryan. Ryan and I actually are friends outside of work. So I'm going to go out there, make sure I get a head start bright and early and be at Spartan Stadium by around 9:30 tomorrow. So make sure to follow Ryan Schuling as well, and myself and Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide for all the latest Michigan State. So give me 1 second. Tweeting that. And I also have an ulterior motive for going out there a little bit early. I need a haircut. Bad. And these eyebrows need to be mowed down. So shout out to my cousin Kaylee. She's an excellent hairstylist. And give it 2 more seconds, guys. I got to put it on Facebook. It's taking a second to load here, and we will dive into it. All right, there we go. Now to the live stream. Whoa, this thing fell a little quickly. Start from the top. Cody Voyle says, first, yes, Cody, you are. Matt the Destroyer says, hey, Adam. Hey, Matt. Alan Pinkney says, do you think Michigan will come out hot? Well, and guys, I want to point this out. In 2000, look, since Harbaugh has been here, they've all been close games, right? The only one that even felt lopsided was in 2016. They've been one-score games, one on the final play of the game. Ever since Harbaugh has been here, the only one that's felt lopsided was Michigan going on the road in 2016 and winning 32-23. That one felt like it was a much larger deficit than that. Michigan scored on its first 2 possessions. So if history repeats itself, and I know it's difficult to, you can look at past stats, none of that stuff, and this stuff is going to increasingly mean less and less and less and less as we approach kickoff. I mean, right now it's 8:33. On a Friday night. I mean, by the time you wake up in the morning, all this stuff that we talked about, yeah, it might pertain to it a little bit, but really what's going to boil down to is, the people on the field, the players on the field. So with that in mind, I do think the Michigan comes out hot. It has to, and that's one of the reasons why that I'm picking Michigan to win this game. I'm going 24-13 Michigan. Schuling's going 23-20 Michigan State. And I will say this, though. I was asked, does the stuff with Michigan State? Yeah, I picked Michigan State earlier in the preseason. But given the condition of Michigan State's offensive line, the injuries at receiver, doesn't sound like Cody White's going to be available. Doesn't sound like Cam Chambers is going to be available, so that leaves Felton Davis. I mean, you go down the list and listen to the podcast. I'll actually drop it in here. Ryan and I go over injuries for both sides. But to answer your question, do I think Michigan will come out hot? Well, I think it has to come out hot. And the answer, if you look at 2016, we'll use that as the barometer. Yeah, I think that Michigan does. Matt the Destroyer 2 says, at Alan Pinkney, I'm going to be hyped because Tarik Black. Tarik Black's not playing. Matt, I would be shocked if Tarik Black plays. Don't believe the hype. I mean, Shea Patterson hinted at it maybe this Saturday. Based on what I've been told, recent information, that's not even likely. So I would say Penn State. William Gentino says, hey, Adam, Harbaugh repeats 1985, 31-0 Michigan, go blue. Yeah, since Harbaugh, there's only been 2 quarterbacks, Jim Harbaugh and Wilton Speight in 2016, to beat Michigan State on the road their first try. Michael Taylor beat Michigan State on his first try in 88, Scott Dreisbach in 96, Tom Brady in 98, and Chad Henne in 2004. Those are the recent first-time winners against Michigan State, but only Harbaugh and Speight did it on the road. Alan Pinkney says, Joe Bocci promised a Michigan State win. Oh, I did not hear that. There we go. If there's a guarantees out there, Ryan and I were just talking earlier how neither side has really said anything. You know, if you want to take Chase Winovich's revenge tour, Joe Bocci said, you know, all the talk, he emphasized talk. But, I mean, there really hasn't been any bulletin board material, but now there is. And on the eve of kickoff, no less. Trey Myers Way says, been hearing Tarik Black will play tomorrow. Trey, if you know what I'm going to say. If we talked about this earlier. If it's coming from the Michigan Football Insider, it's not good information. I'm telling you. Coach Ryan says, damn, still no Mace shirt, killing me. But I didn't even do laundry. I'm sorry, Coach Ryan. I promised you guys, I am wearing Mott, though. And it's not maize, it's gold. I guess it was good luck before the Wisconsin game. Someone pointed out that I wore a maize shirt, and it was gold. It was a Mott shirt. But evidently that was good luck for. And earlier I wore a Mott hoodie, so at least it's an M. And if you guys want to use that as good luck, go for it. Camden Ogletree says, what's up, Adam? Hey, Cam, thanks for joining. Cody Voyle says, Adam is a Michigan State fan, no doubt. I don't know where you're getting that, Cody. Coach Ryan says, yes, hearing Black will play. Guys, Tarik Black, I would be shocked if Tarik Black plays. Absolutely floored. Okay, I think Shea Patterson said it as a way to maybe, he hinted at it that he might be back. Watch the video on my YouTube, and you'll see exactly his facial expression, his body language, and everything. I think that might have been a little bit to feed in, maybe to throw off Michigan State or something. I mean, I don't know. Things like that get said, but Shea Patterson did not in any shape or form say that Tarik Black was going to return. Michigan didn't say anything that he's going to return. And again, this is all speculation. And if it's coming from who I know it is, this is the same guy who said Tarik Black was going to be out for the entire season. So get it right. He's the same guy who said Brandon Peters was going to transfer before the season. Now I guess he's saying Brandon's going to transfer to Purdue. Then he said Joe Milton was going to transfer. And then, I mean, it's a never-ending web of just throw crap against the wall and see if something sticks. And I feel like I explain this to everybody a lot, but it needs to be done. The less you listen to that stuff and the more you pay attention to people who are actually there and have connections and getting real information, the better off you'll be. Alan Pinkney says, another Tarik Black is... Guys, I will eat my hat on camera if Tarik Black plays tomorrow, okay? I will eat my hat. I'm telling you. The likelihood of Tarik Black playing, and this is based on information and sources that I have, and I don't think I've ever steered you guys wrong or put out anything that isn't true and accurate. I would be floored if Tarik Black plays tomorrow. LJ Scott, though, I don't think is going to play tomorrow. Cam Ogletree says, that Cody Voiles, I agree 100%. Michigan fans, did I miss much? We're 9:48, and this is going to be a condensed one because I do have to get out to Hazlitt, try to get a jump start, be out there early tomorrow for the game. So Tim Beck says he's back for part 2. Welcome back, Tim. Matt the Destroyer says, I got Michigan 28, MSU 17. The Gov says, where you and Ryan differ regarding scores tomorrow. Ryan's got it as a one-score game, 23-20. I have it 23-14. Or 24-13, I'm sorry. So that's where we differ. And I do think this is one thing I do think is in Michigan State's advantage. If it's a one-score game, if this game has to be decided by a field goal, I'm taking Matt Coughlin of Michigan State over Quinn Nordin. And Ryan and I discussed this. Coughlin's hit like 16 in a row. We've seen Quinn Nordin with a little bit of struggle. I don't know if it's a mental thing. The distance is there, the accuracy. I think he's 3 of 6 this season with 40-yard plus field goals. I don't think Coughlin, Ryan explains this, Coughlin hasn't even attempted one of that distance. But typically Michigan State's, not really kicking long field goals like that anyway. So Coughlin doesn't have the leg that Nordin has, but Coughlin will have home field advantage, a streak going, and that's pretty much it. So if this game comes down to a field goal, and I'll reserve the right to say this. If this game comes down to a field goal, who do I put my trust in? Matt Coughlin or Quinn Nordin? I'm going Matt Coughlin. But I still think Michigan wins 24-13. I'm just saying if. And Ryan and I entertain that scenario. What's up, Adam? I left you questions on Twitter. I think I got them. Rock City says, what is cracking, Adam? Not a whole lot, Rock City. Big Brother says, let's go blue. Joe Bricado says there's no info confirmed Tarik will play. I don't know where people are getting this. LOL Yoder. Yeah, I know. Matt the Destroyer says, I bet one of my teachers Michigan will win by 11. What was the bet? Big Brother says I'll be in East Lansing 12 hours from now. I'll be out there in about as soon as this live stream's over, and then however long it takes me to drive. Stephen Chang, hey Stephen. Says MSU is hurt on both sides of the ball. That is correct. That is correct. And they don't know if they're getting Josiah Price back either. I mean, Josiah is one of their best corners. Josiah Scott, sorry. They don't know if they're getting him back. I mean, they're banged up on the offensive line. Cole Chewins not playing. David Beadle out for the year. Or not out for the year, but he's not playing. Again, Ryan does a great job outlining all that, and I did not drop the link in the podcast, or I did not drop the podcast link into the chat, so give me 1 second, I'll do that. We had a lot of fun too, and we've mastered the audio quality thing, and the first ones we were having a little bit of audio quality issues on my end, and it's always my fault. But we got it fixed. So here's the podcast. We recorded 3 this week. Vano 11046 Biggs, LJ Scott in or out? I think he's out. Joe Brocado says Gary, I think, will be limited if we see Rashan. I don't know if we're going to see Rashan tomorrow. I can say that, and I do have a close source. He's not going to play until he's 100%, and that's all I'll say about that. And Michigan is saying, that he's questionable. Harbaugh said Monday he didn't know if Rashan was going to play. Rashan Gary is not going to return until he's 100%. And I know that's easy to speculate and easy to say, but I actually did hear that from a source, so I did some homework on it, did my due diligence. I'm not just throwing it out there and hoping it sticks. So I can tell you with good authority that Rashan Gary will not return to action until he's 100%. Alex Marvel says, what is the forecast for tomorrow? Good question. I'll pull that up right now. 48 degrees. We're looking at about 47 at kickoff, partly cloudy. Humidity 65%, chance of precipitation 60%, and it looks like 70% chance around 11 o'clock, going into 62%. So now it looks like it's going to rain for this game. At first it did, and then it didn't, and now according to this on weather.com, 70% chance of rain before kickoff, dipping down into like the 50s, and then up to 62% chance around 1 o'clock. And it looks like from 11 o'clock in the morning to about 5 p.m., there's anywhere between a 70 and 18% chance of rain. The chance of rain decreases as the day goes on. So, yeah, we're looking at maybe some rain before kickoff. And I was hoping for a clean weather game. I want to see both of these teams at their peaks. And yeah, I mean, football's cool. You can see them tested by the elements, but wouldn't you like just ideal weather so that way you could really see what these two teams are capable of and you get the most out of the rivalry? I mean, last year was a great game, but I mean, don't you feel kind of Michigan State played it to its advantage, but don't you feel it's kind of as spectators you get cheated when you're like, oh well, now the weather is just such a factor. It kind of takes away some of the fun, I think, of it. So anyway, it's gonna be Michigan State. Always a great game. So Kenneth Harmon says the team that rushes for the most yards, 43 of the 48, has won. Can Michigan outrush the Spartans? I think they can. And Kenneth, that's a great stat because I remember bringing that up. Was that in response to what we brought up the other day? I know that there was a stats out there and it was significant. Whatever team runs the ball better is the team that wins in this game, like 90% of the time. And right here, Kenneth with a stat, 43 of 48. William Gentino says, not that anybody cares, but D'Antonio is from Zanesville, Ohio, where I'm from. Go Blue. He mentioned that at a coach's clinic. He said he's from Ohio, so it gives him a kick to beat Michigan. And that quote, I saw a picture, was posted in a Michigan fan Facebook group. I think it was Brandon Abbott's group, actually. If Brandon's watching, Be Strongism. What's up, Brandon? I think it was in there, and they had it on the wall in the weight room. Michigan fan says, I think we will get about 1 quarter out of Gary. Stephen Chain says, Gary, from what I heard, was a full participant in practice yesterday. Canfield Racing says, first team to 100 yards running gets you a win. What do you think? Yeah. But I also think, I mean, the turnovers are going to be super important in this one too. So, but yeah, I mean, first team to 100 yards rushing. And I mean, Ryan and I talked about this in the podcast, so check it out. I dropped the link in there. Matt the Destroyer 2 says, about when will Gary play? Someone commented said that Steven, I don't know where, I haven't heard that he was a full participant in practice. I don't, if you could let me know where you got that info. But as far as, like I said, Rashan's not going to return until he's 100%. Do I expect him to play tomorrow? I don't, because of what Michigan was still, I don't know if he was gonna play. Now, was that a smokescreen? Possibly, but the status on Gary for the past 3 weeks has been, I don't know, at best. That's the best answer that we get. Questionable. So, my guess would be that we don't see Rashan unless he is 100%, which, like I said, is real easy to say, but I talked to a source. They said he'll return when he's 100%. I didn't get a timetable. This is a source close to the Gary family. Oh, is LJ Scott playing tomorrow? Alan Pinckney said, no, I don't think so. Ryan Schuling's on Michigan State a lot, and he does not think so. Trey Myers Wade says Yoder was right about the Kareem Walker transfer months before anyone else. He also claiming we leave for Zach Harris. Well, here's the thing. Kareem was already in some hot water, right? And it was easy to just throw that up against the wall. And I'm not saying that he doesn't ever get one thing right, but 1 out of 10, that's not a good average. Look at how the other times he's been wrong. Big Brother says Ambry Thomas will take one back. Cody Boyle says there's a green shirt under that Jordan Brand sweatshirt. No, it's actually gray. But nice try, Cody. Camden Ogletree says, do you listen to Stephen Dent on the Michigan podcast? He gives a very interesting fan perspective of Michigan football. Yes, I probably spelled his name wrong. No, I do not. The Big Brother says MSU's punter isn't good. It will affect the field. Yeah, I mean, he's a backup quarterback, Rocky Lombardi. Their regular punter, Jake Hartbarger, is very good. And that's another thing, though. Special teams, okay, if it's a field goal game, I'm going with Coughlin over Nordine. But special teams in general, Michigan special teams are better. Will Hart's one of the best punters in the country. Field position is going to be major in this game. So, I mean, Quinn Nordine can still knock down field goals. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, I think Will Hart is going to be important in this. Whitney Jackson. Hey, Whitney says, 28-13 Michigan. I think it will come down to turnovers, penalties, and special teams. Uche and Eubanks, players of the game, defensively and offensively, respectively. If you guys have any score predictions, player of the game predictions, I gave mine earlier. 24-13 Michigan. My offensive player of the game, well, co-offensive players of the game is going to be Karan and the offensive line. My defensive player of the game is going to be Josh Metellus. Trey Myers-Wade says he actually talked about the guy on YouTube today. Haha, I'm assuming he's talking about you. What do you mean? And probably. Because he talks about me. You guys bring it up. I'm not going out of my way. I try not to, but I mean, I'm telling you, it's just so annoying with the amount of just blatant bull, and it's an act. It's a full-on act. Green screen. Everything about him is a sham. So, it's annoying, especially when I know all of these other hardworking beat writers at Michigan who like bust their asses to get accurate information and to get the real story and to do their homework and actually interview people face to face and not have to use deception and pretend they're somebody else and take quotes out of context. You know, those are the people I respect. This guy's a vulture. So no respect. Holy wow, James Seward, $50 super chat. Wow. Thank you, James. He says, thanks, Biggs, for finally doing a second podcast for the early workforce. FYI, I think you're a Slippery Rock fan. Go Slippery Rock. Alan Pinckney says, every time Karan rushes for over 100 yards, they're 10-0. Yes, they are. And Karan, I remember tweeting out that stat a couple of weeks. It was 8-0 at that time. But yes, every time Karan rushes for more than 100. But can Karan get to 100? That's the thing. I think Karan's going to get the majority of his. I think he's going to get 85, 90. Michigan State's rush defense is number 1 in the country, but it gave up a couple big runs. Miles Sanders of Penn State had like 150 yards, 147, something like that. Karan Higdon definitely on that level. So that's one of those coin flip things, right? I mean, is it going to be Michigan State's rush defense and those numbers, 62.3 yards per game, and it supports that, and they just hold Karan to nothing? Or is Karan going to say, hey, look, I'm just as good as Miles Sanders, and look what Miles did to you, and this is what I'm going to do to you? So I mean, that's a really interesting matchup, I think. Any questions on Twitter? At AdamBiggers81. Derek Campbell. I see you on Twitter. Hey, dude, I mean, bringing him up. I mean, and I'm just telling you. And I mean, if he watches these, James, you know you're full of it, man. Seriously. And you invited me on your show last year, or about the Kareem Walker stuff. You invited me on your show, and then you backed out of it, and then we had a spirited phone call. And that was that. And that's as far as I want to take it. And I'm not in the business of trying to drag people's names through the mud, but this guy goes and attacks the character and work ethic of people. I can't respect that. Show your face in Ann Arbor, go to a press conference, ask questions if they allow you within 50 yards of the school that you graduated from. So anyway, that's my take. I'm letting loose Friday night. I'm giving 0 Fs. Matt the Destroyer 2 says, I just hope Tarik Black doesn't return to John Ross with injuries every game. Turn to Josh Ross or John Ross. Who are you talking about? Do you know who you're talking about, Matt the Destroyer? Canfield Racing says, tell us your team. $50 is enough. James didn't pay for that. James paid for the second, and I appreciate it. Guys, if you want to contribute to the Super Chat, please do so. Any amount helps. James has been very generous. I appreciate that, James. But every little bit helps, guys. I really appreciate it. So, like I said, we were entertaining the subscription idea, but logistically on YouTube, I don't know how we were going to do that unless it'd be kind of like a pain. I'd have to email the link to everybody. I could put the video up private, and then if you had the link, you could watch it. But then that'd be so time consuming and everything. So Super Chat's really cool, and I appreciate it. Zig says, Biggers, you're a Spartan. I'm a Mott Bear. Michigan fan says, I think he is a Maryland fan. I used to like Maryland basketball before Maryland joined the Big Ten. I'm not gonna lie. I like a lot of teams. I mean, I'm trying to think. Looking at, I have this rack of jerseys. I mean, I like a lot of different teams for the players. I mean, this is a Clyde Drexler jersey from when he was at Houston. I liked Clyde when he was in the NBA with the Trailblazers and the Houston Rockets. I like a lot of players for different reasons. I mean, I when I was growing up, I actually liked Miami. I liked Florida State. You know, I liked a lot of different teams. Always had a healthy dislike for Ohio State and Notre Dame. Never were Irish fan. Never was an Irish fan. But you got to think back, you know, early '90s when I was, you know, preteen. Florida State, Miami, those were big teams. So I remember a lot of players from there, and but I do have a favorite college football team. I do. William Gentino says, "Do you think Rashan's draft stock is slowly going down since he hasn't been playing?" No, I wouldn't say that. It's hard. I mean, you could speculate that. I'm not an NFL draft scout, but if I were, I would be like, okay, well, this guy's preserving his health for injury. That's good. He's thinking of his future. I think I think there's already enough film and the word on the street about Rashan Gary. I mean, I think we already know he's a bad dude. So I don't think his draft stock's hurt. If anything, you know, think of it like this. You know, he's a car. He got dented up. He went to the body shop. Now he's all brand new and he's ready for the big race. I guess. I mean, I don't know. Does that even fit? I'm trying to go with Canfield Racing here and give you a race. Is that even close? Canfield Racing? Am I in the ballpark with that one? Michigan fan with all that red in his room. Oh, well, yeah, Maryland's red, but no. I'm a Jim Abbott fan, as you can see. California Angels. Jim Abbott's my favorite baseball player. Jim Abbott, Ken Griffey Jr., Cal Ripken Jr. Namdi says 63-0 Michigan. Oh, wow, that's a big one right there. Our word 616 says 31-10 Higdon or Shea for player of the game. Bruce McGraw says, what's up, Adam? Hey, Bruce. Joe Bracado says, Yoder is a joke. People, wake up. I agree. Michigan fan says, Chase Winovich, defensive player of the game. Alan Pinckney says, Bigger's definitely an Iowa fan. Nope. Michigan fan says, yeah, I quit watching that crap. In reference to Shat Sports. Namdi says, player of the game, Shake Patterson. B.L. Fire says, Miles 107. Was it 178? I thought it was 147. Something. Anyway, he went off on Michigan State. Camden Ogletree, at least give us a hint with your favorite team. It's in the Big Ten. James Stewart says, if Higgs gets 100, Biggs has to do the gallon milk check. Who said that? Who said that? Because Ryan Schuling brought that up during the podcast, because word got around. We were talking about milk on the live stream. We saw it on Twitter. He said something about a gallon. There's no way I'm drinking a gallon of milk. No, not at once. I go through a gallon of milk in about 2 to 3 days. It depends. But chugging a gallon of milk, That's like that Progressive insurance commercial. They pull that prank chugging contest. You don't chug milk like that. And I'm not doing it, James. I'm not doing it. If you guys want to make a friendly bet, let's set the terms. And I'm going to get going, guys. We're already going on 30 minutes. Friendly bet, if Karan Higdon rushes for more than 100 yards, where's B. Strongism? Where's Brandon Abbott? Stephen Chain says, I honestly still have no idea why people believe Yoder is great. I mean, the dude attacked Rashan Gary's mom on Twitter, threatened to play phone calls and all this other stuff. I mean, that's sociopathic behavior. I mean, the dude is nuts, seriously. Personality disorder. I'm not even kidding. Asim Lodi says, hey, Adam, do you think we could get the run game going at all? Absolutely. Karan Higdon. And and it depends on the health of Chris Evans, too. I mean, Chris and True, there's got to be a guy to balance it off. Michigan State's going to expect Karan Higdon to be the workhorse. We know that, right? So, I mean, it depends on how much support Chris Evans and True Wilson give Karan, but Michigan's offensive line has improved. Michigan, I wanted one more question. I remember on the podcast a week ago before the Wisconsin game, Ryan and I were talking about. I have one more question about Michigan. One more question. Offensive line. I'm there. I see the improvement. I'm writing about the improvement. We're talking about the improvement. I have one more question. Just answer it for me. And it did. The offensive line did. So Jim Harbaugh said the offensive line's playing its best football of the year. He said Juwan Bushell-Beaty's playing the best football of his career at Michigan. And Juwan Bushell-Beaty was always one of those guys. I mean, if you've seen Juwan, long and athletic. The dude is huge. And if he could get past injury and get everything together, he's great on the end. And I think that we're seeing Juwan start to come into his own a little bit. John Runyon Jr. too. John Runyon Jr. took a lot of flack last year when he was on the right side, and then this year now he's the starting left tackle. People are starting to question that. John Runyon Jr. has vastly improved. Karan Higdon, again, the 100-yard thing, 10-0 when Michigan's 10-0 when he rushes for more than 100 yards. He's played in all but one game this year because he sat out against SMU, and every game that he's played in, he's rushed for 100 yards, except for one. I'll bring up his stats right now. And I'll bring up what he's done against Michigan State. Real quick, these are his totals on the year. 72 against Notre Dame, 156 against Western Michigan, did not play against SMU, 136 against Nebraska, which had a decent defensive line, guys. Don't let that score fool you. There's more going on in Nebraska than just, guys not playing well. Those are good athletes on Nebraska's defensive line. The numbers were there to show it, and they came in. I think they had 10 sacks in the 2 games that they played. They were getting in the backfield. Karan just ran through them. So 136 against Nebraska, 115 on the road at Northwestern, 103 versus Maryland, 105 versus Wisconsin. And Wisconsin had a decent defense too. So that was this year. I'm going to look back real quick at what Karan has done his career against Michigan State. Last year, he had 12 carries for 65 yards. Along the 12, he averaged 5.4 per carry. (2016), 10 carries for 44 yards, 4.4 per carry, along a 13. And again, personnel changes, but just going back, if history says anything, as a true freshman, 27-23 loss. He had 2 carries for 3 yards and a long of 2 yards. So historically, Karan Higdon has not had his best games against Michigan State. But again, different team. He's a different running back. He's got a good offensive line that he's behind. I don't think he's going to hit 100. But he might get close. The big brother says, what's your schedule for tomorrow? Are you doing a live show before the game? Ryan and I might do a live show before the game, but we are definitely doing a post-game live from the field at Spartan Stadium. So tune into that. I'll tweet the links and everything. I'm going to hit Michigan press conference, get videos and photo. Ryan's going to do the same for Michigan State. We'll reconvene. We'll do the post-game live. And then there'll be some written content. We'll have podcasts. And then with this coming up, Michigan's bye week. Going to rehash Michigan State. I'm going to grade Michigan where it's at right now. Position group. We're going to look at players. So during this bye week, we're really going to do basically dissect everything that has led Michigan to its point now, which will either be 7-1 or 6-2. Trey Myers Way says John Ross from Washington plays for the Bengals now. I believe that's the reference. Okay. Nandi says 97-1 said today that Gary would play tomorrow, but on limited snaps. Okay, well, if they reported it, 97-1 has good sources there. I would be surprised if I would be surprised if we saw Rashan Gary tomorrow. But at the most limited snaps, I can see that. But like I said, I was told he's not going to return until he's 100%. So, Canfield Racing says, are you going to the game tomorrow? Yes, I am. Cody Boyle says there's a Joe Bocci fathead in the other room. Nope, there's a Justin Verlander poster right there. There's a Ted Williams, Al Kaline. Ted Williams and Mickey Mantle autographed. Al Kaline autographed. Mark Fidrich. An Iserman jersey. No Joe Bocci fatheads. None. I showed you guys the ear. I do have one Michigan trinket from my Big Ten helmet collection. So we'll just put these. Well, you can't even see them. You can't see them there either. I don't know. But they're here. They're kind of old. You can tell by the color of the Spartan helmet. But this is it. And then at the Big Ten, before Rutgers and Nebraska decided to crash the party. So I just never bought another one. Joe Brocato says Nebraska fan. No. Trey Myers Way says it's Illinois. He's just not trying to admit it. No. As a Penn State fan, I used to be a huge Penn State fan. In middle school, Kajana Carter, huge Penn State. Kajana Carter was like my favorite college player at one time. And I really liked Rocket Ismail, even though he went to Notre Dame. And I hated Notre Dame. I really liked Rocket. But Kajana Carter was like my favorite player, college football player in like 7th grade. I think that's the year. It was either 7th or 8th grade. I believe it was the year Penn State joined the Big Ten. So what? That was 95. So yeah, I was in like 8th grade. Huge Kajana Carter fan. I actually had a Penn State shirt. I used to wear the hell out of that thing. B Hill Fire says Michigan State also struggles against spread concepts, just Wisconsin based on tape. Michigan fan says I hope we get Griffey's kid. It was cool seeing him at the game last week. Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr.'s son's a hell of an athlete. Matt Destroyer too says left tackle could be better, to be honest. I think John Ryan is playing pretty well. Leonard Cruz says EW touchdown. UTD. I thought you were a Michigan fan. What? Oh, Leonard. No, I'm not a Michigan fan. Matt the Destroyer says I've liked Bushel Beatty since his first start. Real nice guy too. I like Juwan. Real nice guy. And he realizes he's been criticized. John Runyon Jr. realized he's been criticized as well. Bruce McGraw says, think Purdue will pull it off against Ohio State. I mean, that might be an upset game. And going to Purdue, I'll bring up the schedule too. They have Northwestern at Rutgers, Illinois at Wisconsin, Maryland at Iowa, Michigan at Michigan State, Minnesota at Nebraska, Penn State at Indiana, Ohio State at Purdue, and that's a night game. I don't know if Purdue could do it, but wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Tomorrow could potentially be a big night in the Big Ten. I mean, it's going to be a big night for Michigan or Michigan State, but if Ohio State goes down, that really – and what if Penn State loses at Iowa? I mean, Penn State's out of it basically already, so you know, the Nittany Lions need major help. But already losing to Michigan State and losing to Ohio State, that's pretty much done it for Penn State, playoff concerns anyway. But yeah, wouldn't that be something if Penn State lost at Indiana and Ohio State lost at Purdue, and then, you know, if you're a Michigan fan, Michigan wins, or if you're Michigan, either way, it could be a topsy-turvy night in the Big Ten. B Hill Fire says Juwan was the 11th best offensive tackle in his class, according to ESPN Recruiting. LLJ says, nervous? Me nervous? Yes, I am. Who's nervous? It's the Eve. Joe Brocato says, these chats need to take place more. Awesome info. Thank you. Hey, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. I usually do them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This week we've done more because it's Michigan State week. I'll do more when it's Michigan Ohio State week. You know, the big game stuff we'll do more. But yeah, definitely follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow Great Lakes Divide at GLDivide. GreatLakesDivide.squarespace.com mobile, GreatLakesDivide.com desktop. You can toggle the settings on your phone, and that's pretty much it. And like our Facebook page at Great Lakes Divide, and we'll have a ton of Michigan and Michigan State content. And again, post-game live coverage, myself and Ryan Schuling from Spartan Stadium, following tomorrow's in-state, the backyard. I don't like how they're on the radio commercials and stuff to call it a backyard brawl. I don't know if I really like that. I feel like there needs to be like a different name for it. So I don't know. Maybe let's come up with one. Any final questions? Final questions. He's a Nebraska fan with how they blew through the Big 12 back in the day. I used to like watching Nebraska, Colorado. That was a pretty big rivalry when they were in the Big 8. James Seward says the best argument I keep hearing on why MSU wins is they have more heart, a good wide receiver, and unicorns and dragons will carry them to victory. I don't see a lot going into Michigan and Michigan State. I mean, I don't see a lot going in Michigan State's favor tomorrow. Again, like I said, if it's a field goal game, I'll take Matt Coughlin over Quinn Nordin, but I don't think that it's going to be a field goal game. Turnover is going to be big, but Michigan's got a quarterback that can make plays. The offensive line is improved. We're looking at arguably the best defensive line in the country. There's not a drop-off without Rashan Gary. Kwity Paye, Josh Uche, Aiden Hutchinson have all played very well. Have a really solid core of linebackers. Devin Bush, Devin Gill, Noah Furbush, Khalid Hudson, Josh Ross. I mean, all these guys have been making plays all year. In the secondary, there was a little bit of a question of the secondary, right? I mean, the corners, Lavert Hill, David Long have played well. Brandon Watson, when he gets plugged in. Ambry Thomas has also played a corner in big situations. We're looking at Tyreek Kinnell, who's having a pretty decent year. Brandon Watson, again, I can't mention him enough. Brandon Watson's having a real big year. Josh Metellus was a guy that got so much crap from people, and now look at him. He is the highest rated defensive back quarterback rating of anybody that's been on the field for 150 coverage snaps. So I mean, you got to anybody who's played a decent amount of time. Josh Metellus. Who would have said that at the beginning of the year? Even I wouldn't have said that. I knew Josh was a good player. I knew he was going to turn into something and become an important piece on this defense. But this kid is really, and he was a 2-star, not a big time recruit, 2-star recruit, grinder. You got to respect Josh Metellus. So, I mean, there's so much to like about this Michigan defense and so many things that I feel like to give Michigan the advantage in this game that it's really difficult for me to predict a Michigan State victory. And again, Schuling said 23-20 Spartans. I'm going 24-13 Wolverines. Cody Voiles, $1.99. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate it in the super chat. OLJ. Holy crap. 99. Wow, he said great content. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Like I said, I try to do a good job. I try to be fair. I try to give you guys accurate information. I don't overblow, what I know. I know what I know, and I'll tell you what I know. And if I don't know it, I'll tell you that I don't know it. So I'm not gonna try to scrape together. But 9 out of 10 times, I'd like to think that I've got a pretty good handle on this. And like I said, I've been very accurate over the years. And Michigan's been great to me. Giving me access, a lot of respect for that program. So I mean, it's a two-way street. And I think that it's if you show interest and you're genuine. Look, Michigan knows that I'm not a Michigan fan. Okay, I joke about it with the athletic department, with Chad Shepard and Dave Abloff. They've joked about it with me, but at the end of the day, they know that I'm down there to do a good job. And my interest is, and I've said this a million times, is it's in the coaching, it's in the team aspect, it's in the student athlete. These guys are all chasing their dreams. I don't care if he wears a Michigan helmet, a Ohio State helmet, a Notre Dame helmet, a Michigan State helmet. None of that matters. At the end of the day, these guys are all chasing the same kind of dream. And I got to say that I think I coach a summer collegiate baseball team and have for the past few years. And I used to coach high school baseball, and I feel like that maybe gives me a little bit of different perspective. I think it's really easy for people to just blast these athletes. I think it's really easy for people to take shots on Twitter, and they don't know the half of what a lot of these guys have to go through. And I'm not sitting here and making an excuse. Yeah, it's major college football. They're major athletes. They're going to get criticized. I'm not saying they don't deserve criticism, but I'm saying that they deserve fair criticism. And I don't always feel like that's the case in the media. So I try to lend my perspective, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy it. So thank you very much, LLJ. And thank you, James Seward. And thank you, Cody. And thank you, everybody who's contributed. Alan Pinkney's going gaga with the emojis. He's like, whoa, $100. Yes, thank you, LLJ. I appreciate it. James Seward says, LLJ, well played, sir. Cody Voiles, yeah. Guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I got time for a couple more questions. We're going on 47 minutes here, and I'm keeping my cousin waiting. She's got a little salon in her house, actually. She used to work at a salon, and then she got a full-time job for a better full-time job for a glass company, so she's been doing real well there. And I still get free haircuts, no matter what. I used to mow her lawn way back in the day, so I think I got the free haircut card for life. So she does a great job. So I'm keeping her waiting. And always, guys, if you ever get a free haircut, the proper etiquette is you always sweep up your hair. Always. Every time. I'm just saying. And Kay, if you're watching this, thank you. Appreciate it. Gotta line me up. Look, I'm getting a little. Once you start getting hair that's coming over your earlobe or your ear like that, then it's time for a haircut. And then you start getting that little tail on the back. Any other questions, comments, final predictions, player of the game, score? LLJ says, now just be funnier, Adam. I try. I try to bring some humor to it. I'm not that funny, but sometimes I do have my moments. Cam Ogletree says, you're a Wisconsin fan, Adam. No. Bruce McGaw says, you're a Hoosier fan, Adam. No. Lauren Cheek says, do you think there's any chance Gary comes back next year like Chase did this year? No. I do not, Lauren. And that was pre-injury. This was my feeling going in at the end of the year. This would be Rashan's final year, and this would be Devin Bush's final year. And probably David Long, maybe even Vert Hill. I mean, there's 5-6 guys who could leave, and obviously Chase would be a fifth-year senior. So Khaleke Hudson draft eligible as well. So I mean, you're looking at you're looking at possibly 3, 4, 5 guys maybe. And I would say that Gary and Bush are all but certain. I will leave you guys on this, though. Let me say this. Devin Bush said something to me that was pretty interesting. And he could have said it 2 different ways. And maybe I'm reading too much into it. Possibly not. Okay, so if you watch the videos, I was harassing Devin Bush about this defense secret tradition that they have, right? And I asked him about it. I think it was after I believe it was after the Maryland game. Homecoming, yeah. Pretty sure it was after the Maryland game. Then I asked him again, and then I asked Devin Gill, and they wouldn't tell me. He said, all I can tell you is real personal. They do it before every game. It's a thing that the defense does. Not even the coaches know about it. Don Brown doesn't even know about it. And I said, well, Devin, are you gonna ever fill me in? Are you ever gonna give me any details? And the video's on my YouTube channel. It's a couple weeks ago. Take a look at it. And he smiled and he looked at me and he said, maybe when I graduate. Okay? So, he said maybe when he graduates. So, is he planning on staying all 4 years? Or is he just saying maybe when I graduate, I leave for the NFL, he could still get his college diploma. He could still get his degree. So, take that for what you will. Devin Bush said, maybe after I graduate. So, okay. I'm going to leave you guys on pins and needles on that one. That was enough suspense. I'll do my best. We'll try to do a pregame tomorrow. If you're going to East Lansing, be safe and watch out. Don't get too crazy with the tailgating. And if you're a Michigan State fan and the Spartans win tomorrow, please don't burn any couches. Please. Just don't do it. It's a horrible look. Horrible look. And you're burning perfectly good furniture. It makes no sense to me. It's like, why do that? Oh, Michigan State won. Let me go bash out my windows. I mean, I'm cutting off my nose to spite my face. That makes no sense. You're burning a couch that you could be sitting on. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to our title sponsor, FederalWilliams.com. That's FEDERAU Williams.com. He's based in the Lansing area, but he serves the entire state of Michigan. Mike Williams. Contact Mike at FederalWilliams.com, whether you're in Ann Arbor, East Lansing, Troy, Dearborn, Benton Harbor. Doesn't matter where you are. Mike will help you find what you're looking for. FederalWilliams.com. And again, I want to thank Tim and Keith at Mr. Spots in Ann Arbor, MrSpotsAnnArbor.com, 808 State Street in Ann Arbor. I'm Adam. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide. And find us on Facebook at Great Lakes Divide. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Thanks again, everybody. James, LLJ, Cody Voiles, thank you for contributing to the Super Chat. I enjoyed it. We'll reconvene tomorrow, possibly a pregame episode, but definitely a postgame episode. So I'll tweet with plenty of time in advance to let you guys know. And hopefully everybody returns and we have a great discussion. So thanks again for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night and enjoy the game tomorrow. Thank you.